In politics, what begins in fear usually ends in failure. Good evening and welcome. This is Face the Nation. Our topic of discussion today is after the LG polls, what now? Joining us this evening on the show are Attorney at Law Lakmali Hemachandra from the National People's Power, Dr. Mahim Mendis from the SJB, Damitha Wickramasinghe from the Sri Lanka Pojana Peramuna, as well as Attorney at Law Sudarshana Gunawardana from the Dinana Dakuna organization. To pose questions from our panelists this evening, on to my immediate right is Newsfirst, Consultant Director at Newsfirst, and on to my immediate left is Shihar Anis. You too can join in as far as the conversation is concerned. The number to send in your messages via WhatsApp is 076-656-5353. The number once again, 076-656-5353. So let's get the ball rolling today with Attorney at Law Lakmali Hemachandra from the National People's Power. Lakmali, on the 16th of June, the Colombo Municipal Council will convene. What's going to happen?
We'll have to see what's going to happen on June 16th for sure, but we are quite confident that NPP will be able to get the mayor position in Colombo. We already have 48 NPP members, and we have secured the support of independent members who will support our candidate Rai Kali Baltasar. So we are quite confident of it.
So you are confident that on the 16th of May, the Colombo Municipal Council will be holding the power as far as the NPP is concerned?
Yeah, Colombo will turn red.
Colombo will turn red. So I just want to go back a few months, Lakmali. Prior to the elections, I recollect many individuals from the NPP said that they won't seek the support of independent party members. Why? Because they are coming in the guise of affiliated political party representatives. So in a situation like that, where the NPP have always been of the view that you all are the most cleanest party in Sri Lanka, and that was the mandate that you all campaigned for at the presidential as well as general election. How do you all feel joining hands with independent party members to form a council, especially like Colombo, for an example?
I mean, initially, we also don't want to form. That was when we went into the elections. The intention was that we would get more than 50%. That would have been desirable. This is something that we have been saying since the parliamentary election. It's desirable to avoid coalitions, but then there are also independent candidates, especially the candidates that in Colombo, for example, there were 16 groups altogether, including parties, and some of the candidates some of the members now who've had discussions with us. We obviously don't offer money or any other privileges. So we have to seek policy consensus. That's how we go with the independent candidates as well. And they have shown a keen interest in our policies. And many of their policies, many of their interests or what they want to do with the council align with our interests. So we have maintained it at that.
Given the fact what you all said before now, are these independent members with a clean track record in terms of their political history, in terms of their political ideologies? Can the NPP work with them together in the future?
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously not NPP. They're not.
Does that mean that they're not clean?
No, I mean they're not. They don't have the same level of let's say everything that we believe in, everything that we aspire to do. Maybe that's why obviously they ran on an independent ticket, right? Why they didn't run on an NPP ticket. But we also think that they have similar values, most of them. Most of them actually. We need 11 independent candidates, and we are quite sure that from the discussions we've had with them, they are not they are not talking about political favors. They are not talking about any deals that they want to have since we are a party in government. They are not asking for any special privileges, advantages, favors. So we don't see any problem joining hands with them.
So I just want to recollect, there was one...
But also, Shamil, I just want to make sure that regardless of whoever that we go into coalitions with, if there are any illegal activities, if there are any frauds, if there are accusations, allegations, that doesn't mean that just because you support NPP in an election that we are going to make that
I
point.
was just about to ask you, because there was one independent group that was contesting the last election from Colombo Municipal Council, which is known to be tainted with corruption. And that political party has also said that they will support the NPP if they are to form the CMC.
Right.
So you all are okay with that?
I mean, they can vote with us. There are independent members, there are other party members, there are so many members of the council who are willing to vote with NPP, but that doesn't mean any favors or preferred positions when it comes to decision making.
So why would they vote with the NPP if they are not being given some sort of a special privilege or any monetary value? I'm just trying to figure out, in politics there's never a free meal. That's what we've heard.
No, my understanding is that CMC has been defunct for quite some time now, and I think members of the council also want the council to succeed, and maybe they feel that aligning with the government in power, which can get them support from the central government and so on, is a better way to take the CMC forward than keeping it in the opposition, which has been the track record of CMC for a really long time. So maybe they want to change in the way CMC works.
Yeah, so one final question before I move to Dr. Mendis. Lakmali, do you think if the party loses hypothetically the Colombo Municipal Council, how would you all view this? Is it going to be a damage to the political future of the NPP, because Colombo is known to be one of the areas where the Green parties have always dominated, and for them to keep the power retained within them is very, very important for that political party to show how much of a prowess they have in Sri Lanka. How would you all view this in the event you all are defeated?
More than for the future of NPP, I think it will be detrimental to Colombo city itself if it remains green. That's the position that we have.
But you seem a little bit very skeptic today. Because,
no, I'm not. I'm not skeptical at all. Since we have the central government, we have the development, divisional development committees. There are other. We have Urban Development Authority under our control. We have all these agencies relevant to Colombo under our control. So CMC would be really helpful and supportive to our development agenda for sure.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean just because if we do not have the control of CMC, that doesn't mean that we are going to abandon the Colombo city. It's still going to go forward with the development agenda we have for the country. I mean, it will be really easy and it will be better.
Does that mean hypothetically, let's say the SJB or the UNP or the SLPP jointly form the mayoral position in Colombo? Does that mean that within a few months the control of the CMC will come under a commissioner?
No.
As such,
it depends on how they run the council. We can't guarantee whether it will come under the commissioner or not, just because But obviously, it's not politically motivated. If they want to run the council, they can run the council. That's not a problem. But we want to make sure that it aligns with the general agenda of the government.
Yeah, but when President Arulingam Dissanayake made a statement after the elections were over, he somewhat threatened other political parties. Try and see whether you could form. We have 159 members in parliament. We know exactly what to do. Such threatening, does that serve well for democracy?
We haven't done any intimidation. It's allowed to continue. If you look at the news and if you look at the statement the opposition is making, they're quite liberally making statements. They're quite liberally seeking alliances. We haven't done anything to stop them. So we don't intend to do anything disruptive. However, they have the responsibility of putting forward a candidate, putting forward a mayor who is not, prone to disrupt the process. I'm not confident whether the SJB candidate is somebody who will do that task.
Right.
Already there are allegations of corruption against him in the bribery commission.
Right. Thank you very much, Attorney General Lakmali Hemachandra, representing the NPP. Nice to have you after some time, Lakmali.
Yes, nice to be back.
I now switch my attention towards Dr. Mahim Mendis, representing the SJB. Dr. Mendis, you all have lost the battle. 16th of June. Who is going to be the opposition leader of the Municipal Council?
Why do you say we have lost the battle?
I don't know. Based on what Lakmali is saying, they are going to form the mayoral position of
very clearly. We have the majority by way of the opposition. It is abundantly clear that the united opposition is going to have the victory on the 16th. I really don't know why they made it 16th.
We didn't make it 16, the election committee
It
made it
is,
16.
yeah. But anyway, we would have loved to have it before that. And we are very clear.
Right.
When I appeared last time, I told you very, very clearly that Colombo will be won by SJB, or if SJB is to lose, parties in the opposition, in any case, will be backing the SJB.
So just for me to understand, Dr. Mendis, who is your mayoral candidate?
Zaruk, we have made an announcement today. I think people saw it. Mujibur
Rahman.
was addressing the press, and we made it very clear that our candidate will be Zaruk.
Okay. Just for me to understand, you say that the opposition unitedly will join forces. Is that what you said in your opening
Very clear,
remarks?
very clear.
So, which parties?
I predicted that also.
Yeah. Which parties do you think will join hands? Because you have 29
The United
members.
National Party, the
Okay,
Sri
you all have
Lanka Muslim
13 there.
Congress, the Portua.
No, but Sri Lanka Muslim Congress didn't. Porto is going to support.
Well, it's very clear.
So let's look at the numbers. So you have 29 members. So 13 from the UNP. How do you intend to form the 59?
Well, the including the people who contested
Because the
independent-
Sarvajana Bale party has already said
as
that
much
they will
as much
join
as
hands.
the NPP expects the independent candidates to back them, we too expect the independent candidates to back us, because we are very much more experienced. They know our capacities. It is not a secret that we are an experienced group of people, unlike the NPP. And those who are on the fence, the independent candidates, at this moment of time, have absolutely no reason whatsoever to support the NPP.
Dr. Mendis, the Colombo Municipal Council has been headed by a three-wheel drive also. There needs not be experience to run the Colombo
Yes,
Municipal
all
Council.
the will of the people.
Do you remember the time that I'm
Three-wheel
talking
driver
about?
or pavement hawker or whatever it is, that is the will of the people. There's no problem in that.
Yeah, there need not be experience to run Colombo Municipal Council as long as there is a political hierarchy backing you. Isn't that the case?
Well, now, in this case, there is, we haven't got to talk about it, because within our ranks, we have experienced members with adequate
Who are the
knowledge.
experienced members with
people
political
are-
experience?
I
Zaruk
mean,
has experience in politics?
our mayoral candidate announced, Saru,
Yeah, but he
is
has
also someone
experience.
who has been in, who has been
Politics?
chairing committees in the Colombo Municipal Council.
So he is going to be the ultimate candidate who will get the support of
At
all
this moment
political
of time,
parties.
at this moment of time, we have announced that Zaruk will be our candidate.
So right now, again, I'm going back to a statement that was made by Sajid Premudas as well, saying that there is no way in this lifetime that he will join hands with the United National Party. For a petty political agenda, you all want to unite?
Well,
Just to
Sajid
defeat the
Premadas's, the leader Sajid Premadas's statement has to be looked at in a contextually relevant manner.
What do you mean
Right.
by that, Doctor?
At a particular time in history, well, we were not prepared to have a platform, a united platform in campaigning with any of these parties.
But now you all have.
But we are a pragmatic
Yeah, but
group of
now you
people.
all have. Now you all have a.
At this moment of time, in the context, very clearly, our priority and our leaders' priority is a stable administration. Because the people of this country know very well that Sajid Premadasa was not a man in a hurry to grab and grip power. No doubt about that. In this context, we want a stable administration. We don't want to
but
see
don't you
a
think-
minority.
Yeah, but very quickly, Dr. Mendis, I'm just trying to figure out, because now it seems it's convenient for the UNP and the SJB to join hands. Don't you think if the UNP and the SJB joined hands at the presidential election, things would have been different now?
Now you're
Where was the pragmatic thinking at that time?
well. That's why I said in that particular context,
There was no
the
pragmatic
UNP that was in an alliance with a group of people discredited, ousted in an uprising. Well, the United National Party
thinking.
leader,
No, I'm not talking about 2019. I'm talking about now.
a future presidential
No.
election.
I'm talking about last year, just a few months ago.
Yeah.
Don't go that far. I'm talking about last year, presidential election.
Yes.
Why did the UNP and the SJB join hands? If it was pragmatic.
Why didn't?
Yeah, why didn't you all?
Why
If
didn't?
it was, if it
So
was
at that
pragmatic.
moment of time, as I said, contextually at that moment of time, the two leaders had not. You see,
But
let
don't
me
you
be
think,
frank.
no, but
Let me
Dr.
be
Mendis,
frank.
but Dr. Mendis, don't you think it's a pity
Yeah.
that you all are joining hands to form the Colombo Municipal Council, and you all couldn't join
So what's the
hands
problem?
to
So what's
form
the
the
problem?
presidency in the country?
The presidency,
It's sad,
the
isn't it?
national leadership was on a very specific, you see, platform of public policy.
But I find it really
We
funny.
were not, Ranil Wickramasinghe's policies and approach and his alliances and affiliations.
7
were
months
not
down the line,
to
everything is
our
okay now?
satisfaction.
Yeah, 7 months down the line.
Now we have a group of people. Okay, let's be, don't drag that presidential politics into this. Please
but-
don't do that.
No,
because that is contextually
No, but I'm
relevant.
asking you, Dr.
Contextually
but,
relevant.
it is relevant because not because of anything else. To form the Colombo Municipal Council, you all can join hands. To form the
can join hands and we
presidency, to
should
have
join
national
hands for the
politics,
sake of
you
the
all don't want to
people.
do it.
We need to have. You will agree.
I don't agree.
You will.
I wish I have
You will
an
agree.
opinion here,
What
but
you
I
will
don't.
agree. Obviously, you're a reasonable man, not an unreasonable man. Right? Okay. You will agree that there needs to be stability and order in this Colombo Municipal Council. The people did not have a proper administration. You see, elections have been postponed, and they were, making a mockery of local governance. And now we have, whether we like it or not, whether our opponents like it or not, whether our friends like it or not, very clearly a freshly elected group of people.
Right.
And the final result is that there is closer affiliation and union between the
Thanks,
opposition members.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Dr. Mendis.
Majority.
We'll talk about all this
Of course.
momentarily as we go along. I now move my attention towards Damitha Wickramasinghe from the SLPP Sri Lanka Pujana Peramuna. Damitha, have you already given the nod to join hands with the SJB-led alliance to form the Colombo mayoral position?
Well, good evening, Shamir. Thank you very much for having me. If you followed the news this evening, our national organizer and de facto leader Namal Rajapaksa very clearly says that we will go with the people's mandate. If you look at the mandate, when the government is getting 42%, the collective opposition has got close to 58%. So we will definitely go with the people's mandate against the NPP.
Against the NPP.
Of course.
That has been established.
That is established.
Right. For me to understand, Damitha, if there was a secret ballot at the 16th, on the 16th of June, how would you think the odds would be?
Well, we are not trying to, we are not putting forward a candidate. So it's as the main opposition in the Colombo Council, the SJB is putting forward the mayoral candidate. And the UNP has also said that they will back it. And it's for them to get the numbers. It's not our job. We will go with the people's mandate, which is clearly not to let the NPP form the council.
And that has been very well established.
Exactly. It has been told in the news also by a party leader.
Right. So, Damitha, is this support unconditional?
No. To form the council, we will give our support, but we will remain the balance, you can say, within the council to ensure that the mayoral candidate keeps to the agenda of the people. And if any sort of corruption happens, we will be the first to raise it up, right? So we are providing conditional support to establish the council and for the well-being of running the council.
Damitha, talking about corruption, what is unfolding right now in terms of ex-ministers going behind bars and serving 20 years of rigorous imprisonment. How do you all view this as a political party?
As a party, we are 100% against corruption. If somebody has done any wrongdoing, definitely if public money has been, unlawfully gained for their personal benefit, we are 100% against it, and we are for to carry out the justice process.
So you said your de facto leader is Namal Rajapaksa.
Yeah.
Even indictments have been filed against him and his brother in terms of corruption allegations. I'm trying to figure out what the position of your party is.
It's a matter pending at court. So none of them have been convicted as yet. So as you know, in the law, you are innocent until you are proven guilty. But irrespective of whether it's a party leader or someone else, family members, of course, I can't answer on behalf of the Rajapaksa family because I'm here representing the SLPP.
But you can definitely represent your leader.
Of course. I'm 100% backing him because I have worked under him. I know how transparent, what kind of integrity he has, because I have served under him when he was the Minister of Youth Affairs. So there were no such any enforcement or anything like that during my tenure. So I'm quite confident that Namal Rajapaksa is innocent and he will be proven innocent in the court of law.
Right. Damitha, moving forward, one of the allegations leveled by your party leadership is the fact that the NPP has failed to do anything significant and substantial for the country over the last few months. Don't you think time and space has to be given?
Why do you say so? They counted monkeys spending 70 million. Then now there is a.
Yeah, we jailed your minister.
They were very against the rising of taxes and levies by the Ranil Wickramasinghe administration. Now they are celebrating a Badu Satya, right? They have done a lot. Why do you say they have not done anything?
No, this is what you all are saying. I'm not saying.
So,
in Parliament also.
Shamin, where I was getting at first, this incompetent government came into power spreading malicious lies, and luckily after 6 months the people of this country have realized, and 2.3 million votes were reduced from the parliamentary election to this local government election. And time to come, mark my word, if they hold the provincial council elections next year, they will fall below 1 million votes. At this rate, they might end up at 3%.
Right. Thank you very much, Damitha Wickramasinghe from the SLPP. We of course will grill you further as the show goes along, Damitha, on matters that you brought up. I want to move my attention to Attorney at Law Sudarshana Gunawardana from the Dinana Dakuna organization. Sudarshana, firstly, thank you very much for joining us. I think you are coming on the show after a lapse of few years, after serving as the chairman of one of the television networks of then government. So just to clarify your position now, you are not with the UNP anymore, is it?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me, and it's a great
pleasure to have you here as well, Sudarshana.
No, I served in 2 administrations led by UNP leader as the Prime Minister at one point and as a President. And I continue to associate with the UNP all these years. But I was actually working as an official. I was working as a kind of. I joined the government as a civil society member. So I cannot claim that I represent a party because I am not included in that political machine. But obviously, I supported Ranil Wickramasinghe leadership and also worked under him and still continue to work with him.
So the Dinana Dakuna organization? What's that?
Dinana Dakuna is a broad platform we are trying to build at this point, because we believe that this is a time to have a broader consensus on issues faced by Sri Lankan society. So one single party cannot actually handle this. So while we appreciate the role of the parties and associate with the party, for this matter UNP, what we try to do is to get together like-minded people and trying to present an alternative for Sri Lanka.
Especially all are like the Wickramasinghe movement, the NPP at one point.
Yeah, I mean, one can say because it's similar, but it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing.
What's the policies that you all are driven by?
We actually at this point, at this point that we have branded this initiative as Dinana Dakuna. So basically, we are focusing something right to the center. Because that there's a left wing, right to the left government is in power. So our intention is to actually bring the other elements together and also to advocate some kind of.
Who's the leader of this organization?
Well, there's no particular leader. Actually, we have a no, it's not a soup. We have a kind of a council. We have a number of people, and it's open for everybody. We are in the formative period, number of lawyers, academics, and all sort of people like that.
So just for me to understand, what is your stand with regard to the Colombo Municipal Council vote that is going to be taken up on the 16th of June?
Colombo Municipal Council, it's very clear, people's mandate, that the opposition, joint opposition, has the numbers. Whereas the government failed to achieve numbers, failed to achieve 50%. If the people in Colombo have voted the ruling party 50% of the votes, this question will not arise, because then the election commission has the power to ask the party secretary to nominate, as the court and other places what happened you can see. Here they are little shy of numbers, and joint opposition have the numbers. So joint opposition has a chance to form the council and also send a signal to the people and also to the international community that tide is turning.
Right. So Sudarshana, do you think none of the political parties have got a majority? However, the NPP has got 48 seats in the Colombo Municipal Council. So don't you think that they should be given a chance to govern the country, because the mandate lies with the party which has gained a majority in terms of the numbers overall?
Shami, now that is true if they manage to get 50% or more. They did not get 50%, so then it's up to the council. So the law is very clear, council members select who is the mayor.
So Sudarshana, you said that you are still affiliated with the United National Party.
Yes.
And you're very close ally of Ranil Wickramasinghe as well. How do you view the coalition that is being formed with the SJB and the UNP now?
Well, I think...
Don't you think it's a bit too late?
As my good friend Dr. Mahim Mendis said, it's contextual. One can argue it was too late. One can argue. But that's history. But there's a situation now, not only SJB and UNP, but all the opposition parties, SLPP and other opposition parties also realize that this is time we need to respect the mandate of the people, listen to the constituency and come together.
But why do the people get a feeling that the opposition parties are trying to get together because the NPP is taking action against individuals who were corrupt in the previous regimes, and this is a force that you are trying to create to fight that?
That's very fair question. Very fair question. But let me answer in this way. No one is against that government or the law enforcement dealing with corruption, because corruption has been a problem in this country, so it has to be addressed. No one is working against. In fact, this present act, anti-corruption law, has been brought forward by the previous administration led by President Wickramasinghe. And that parliament voted it. That parliament passed it. If the administration is against anti-corruption measures, that law wouldn't have been brought in. So it's not about our opposition to fight against corruption. No, we all want a corruption-free country. But there's a problem. Problem is, we cannot allow any government to weaponize anti-corruption law or any law for that matter. When you have a situation where some leaders and ministers of the government publicly making statements saying that, for example, the Justice Minister recently said, next election, don't worry, because none of these people will be here, all will be go to jail. So that means it is not that law enforcement taking its course. It's not the independent commission, Siabok, is doing that. It is politically motivated. And the government get the credit for whatever the action these people are taking. So there's a danger. So what we say is that, okay, if the justice prevails, but we will oppose any action by the government to weaponize this anti-corruption law and try to curtail the dissent.
But if you look at the recent judgment that has been passed on Foreign Minister Mahim the amount of wealth that these politicians have made over the last few years is a big question mark, Sudarshana. We are talking about huge sums of money. If they were entrepreneurs, I do understand, but they've been involved in politics. They've started off as Pradesh Sabha members, and to amass so much of wealth. Isn't this the biggest problem that the country is facing at present? How did they amass so much of wealth?
I mean, I will not go to the extent to say that this is the biggest problem, but obviously this is a problem. Biggest problem is to stabilize the economy and also to,
But this government has got a clear mandate to fight this.
Yeah, no, so we have no problem about
Whether or
that.
not Justice Minister says it or not, at the end of the day, people want justice for individuals who have robbed the money of innocent people.
I think no one in this table against this idea of fighting against corruption and also robbing the state coffers by anyone. But if you look at the particular judgment, I think we have to divide and distinguish between this judgment and people amass wealth. Now there's a law the previous administration prepared and this government brought in, that the proceeds of crime. If you use this law, you can actually look at the bank accounts and assets, and asset declarations will be there, so you can use that. But this particular judgment is not about that someone getting benefited from the government money. It's basically that there's a procedural error.
Yeah.
There's a procedural error that the sports minister distributed certain amount of sports goods, but not in a proper way, and the courts have decided it's an offence. And but again, I must say, this is the High Court judgment, and then they have it's a trial at bar, High Court permanent trial at bar, pre-judge bench. So they have a right to.
So they're unanimously decided.
Unanimously decided, obviously, yeah. So we must respect the judgment. There's no problem
Question
about
that.
And we believe in independence of judiciary. we don't believe that any government is doing that. It's the judges
Like
independently.
like the
did
minister
that.
says.
Like the minister or somebody says.
The minister says.
yeah, like the minister says. But they have a...
No, but there has been instances.
They have an
where
appeal.
But there has been instances where individuals like Shirani Bandaranaike was impeached after Parliament was convened till 12 o'clock in the night.
Yes.
Those are right.
Obviously,
And
that
Nama
we
Rajapaksa came
fought.
and said
I mean,
that was a bad decision.
we fought against that instance, and also
No, but there were instances like that also.
yes.
in Sri Lanka.
So instances like that, and we have been fighting against that.
Okay,
Let me,
I'll get back to you,
Yeah,
Sudarshan.
okay,
Just
sure.
give me a second. I want to open the floor for questions from Niresh and Shihar. But I just want to ask Lakmali one question on follow-up to what Damitha said, Lakmali, because you are the government representative today. I want to pose this to you. He said about this consensus that was carried out on monkeys. That was one of the instances in which the government acted, and he said around 80 million was spent on that. And then he said that the tax week that was declared by President Wickramasinghe. I want to ask, let's break it down.
Yeah.
Firstly, on this matter, what is the update on this
The consensus on the wildlife consensus, actually.
Yeah.
It was
Census.
census, sorry,
yeah.
not the
Sorry.
consensus, census.
Census.
That was carried out, I think, in February, and the results are pending. The Agriculture Ministry has to answer that. I have not checked up on it, to be honest.
Right. So the other matter
expect the ministry to answer that.
The other matter is Wickramasinghe coming on Satana prior to the election said that within a week the MOU signed with India would be brought to light.
He didn't say week. He said as soon as possible.
Yeah, but when is that happening?
I'm not. I don't have the information about. I'm not privy to that.
That's okay. Lakmali, also with regard
But I do
to
want to answer the question, the other one.
the tax week.
The tax
Yes,
week. Because I feel that's important.
I have a question for that. So on the tax week, Lakmali, now many individuals were of the opinion that the money that is being given to NPPers or the JVPers in Parliament or in other hierarchies are being put into a particular fund.
Money.
Like example, it goes to a centralized fund, and through the centralized fund only the parliamentarians are given money. And you in fact came on the show and said that's not the case. But I'm trying to figure out, why would the president pay taxes if it's going to a fund?
Because that's on his income.
Yeah, but whose the income is paid
He's
by
donating.
who?
No? He should be donating.
I'm not sure.
According to the rhetoric, he should also be donating to
that's
the party.
not. So we have. You mean the wages? You're asking about the salary.
How
He
will
can't have any other income.
No. So
because
we have always maintained that collectively we contribute to the party fund.
My question, I don't think you understood. So the president's salary is less than 150,000 rupees.
Yeah.
So then he is not taxed.
Yeah.
So how is he paying a tax? How is he?
He filed a tax return.
Okay.
I'm not sure whether he paid taxes or
Taxes,
not,
okay,
right? He
okay,
filed the tax return, because
right.
that's what I wanted to stress. It was tax week is not about just paying tax. We want to improve tax compliance in the country. And we had a discussion in the Committee on Public Finances about taxation. And there also the IRD revealed that tax compliance is one of the problems we have in the country. And during the past few months, it has actually increased because of the monitoring they do, because of the follow-ups that they do. So it has increased, and we want to increase it further. Tax compliance has to go up. So it has nothing to do with increasing the taxes. It's about getting these individuals and companies and corporations to pay their taxes. So we promote what we do with taxes. We promote paying taxes, because that's just a good practice as citizens, and as a government, it's a good practice to have transparency. That's also why the government the president filed the tax return, because we want more people to file their tax returns, regardless of whether they are paying taxes or not, so that we know the tax base, we know what is the situation in the country, and we can improve tax compliance. So the whole point of the tax week is to improve tax compliance, which has been a huge problem, which has remained very low in Sri Lanka.
Right. So I have a question for Damitha as well. One of our viewers have just sent it. Damitha, you said that Basil Rajapaksa is going to, last time when I asked you a question, where is Basil Rajapaksa, you said he is going to be in Sri Lanka in June. Now he has fallen off a chair.
Apparently, yes, he is hospitalized.
He's hospitalized.
Yeah.
So
As far as I know, according to my knowledge.
okay, when is he coming?
That, of course, I didn't check Shamir, but he's supposed to be back. He will be back. No questions about that.
It's not that he's scared, right?
No, he's never been scared. No, during the Yapalne, these lot all collectively put him behind bars for so many months. He's still
But
facing.
now it's a bit different, no?
What is different? Nothing different. No? What's the difference? It's the same, matters at court. Have they charged anyone anew?
Indictments have been filed, no?
No, indictments, Shamir, have been filed even during Yapalne, during Gotabaya Rajapaksa's.
No, but Namal Rajapaksa's indictments were filed recently.
Yeah,
after
but
Arulingam Dasanak was appointed president.
exactly. So it's a matter pending at court. So even Basil Rajapaksa shouldn't have a fear of coming back unless he has the forces against our party have any other plans. Right? If this is if the general law is being practiced in the country, why should you have fear? I mean, what has he done wrong?
Sure, Dinesh.
Oh,
I have more questions, but I leave it to the two of
I
you.
too, but
Always a pleasure.
I'll ask it Lakmali. Lakmali, now everybody is talking about the reduction in the number of votes for NPP. Right? I mean, how do you see this reduction or the popularity falling, and what does that mean for NPP?
We don't consider it to be an indicator of the popularity falling of the government, first of all. We think it's a different election, and as far as that election is concerned, we have gained control of majority of the considerable number of, actually 151 councils were formed, 161 councils were formed on Monday, and out of that 151 control was taken by NPP. We didn't have a single council in our control before we went into the election. Now we have 151 already, and we will gain more control of councils as the elections come. So we don't think this is a bad result. This is a particular way of doing an election. It's a vote-based election. Every party has a candidate for the vote, and every party we had 16 groups, as I said, in Colombo. So all of these candidates are going to get some number of votes.
But Lakmali, the previous two elections, you ran on a campaign, anti-corruption campaign,
Yeah.
and that had a strong support from the public. But the same campaign did not work in this one.
No, I don't
Why?
think it hasn't worked, Shihar. I think it has worked. I think in contrary to what, I want to answer Mr. Sudarshana Gunawardana, he specifically said that there is a mandate given to the joint opposition. What mandate to the joint opposition? SJB had their own mayoral candidate. Sarvajana Bale had their own mayoral candidate. And how many members did they secure in the council? SJB had 29. Sarvajana Bale, if I am not wrong, has some 3 or 4, right? So then what is the mandate given? These are all separate political parties. They ran separately and they had separate programs. They didn't run on a common program. And now they are saying there's a joint opposition and there's a joint mandate. SJB's candidate, in fact, lost his vote, right? So then I'm not sure whether the Sarvajana Balawege candidate won their vote. We have a mayoral candidate who actually ran on she was revealed to be the mayoral candidate. She won her vote and she is still the mayoral candidate.
Yeah,
so it's very clear for us.
Now, I'd like to ask a very fair question. Now, what mandate did NPP get to go into alliance with Prabha Ganeshan? So for them, the same logic doesn't apply?
No, we have always been, we have...
So are you telling me that the people voted for the NPP to go into coalition with Prabha Ganeshan?
People voted for NPP to have 48 members.
It's wrong for the opposition.
No.
For them, it's
what
all
I'm
right
saying
to
is
have any bedfellow.
there is no joint opposition that ran the election, which is quite different from what we did. We ran as NPP.
Fact of the matter
right?
is,
no.
have been
Please,
cut to
there was
size
no.
to 41%.
No.
Right?
You had a separate
41%.
mayoral candidate. Two of these parties had separate mayoral candidates, right?
No, but in their defense, Lakmali, what I think Damitha is trying to say is, if we all can unite and form...
I'm not against them uniting,
Yeah.
but for them to
So why
come up
can't
with this
they
term,
unite?
no, of course they can unite. I'm not against them uniting. What I'm saying is for them to term it as a mandate. A mandate is not something as a convenient political coalition.
Can we term it like NPP did not have the majority mandate?
Sure. We are not denying that, right? It's a difficult council. It has been under SJB control for quite some time. UNP control for quite some time. And there are vote bases inside. These particular candidates have their own. These are vote-based candidates. They have their own families, their neighbors, their friends who are voting for them. And it's a different election. So for them to come and say that Pohuttu got a mandate, or Sajid Premadasa got a mandate. This is not true. That's what I'm saying. Not even their candidates got the mandate.
Yeah, but
not even on their votes.
But don't you think what drove the NPP at the last presidential or the parliament election was single-handedly led by one person, and that person is Arulingam.
Yeah.
And when it came to the local council elections, you all had really lost traction.
No.
Because what was promised at the election fora at that time was not fulfilled.
No, I don't think so. See, this is a different election. I think this is a different election, and we had new candidates, we had new mayoral candidates, new presidents. So it's an entirely different system. And most of our candidates was like really new candidates, but they won their votes.
Lakmali, didn't the NPP expect a higher number of votes?
We would have loved to have, like I said, we would have loved to have they had the capacity to form.
What was the expectation?
With Colombo, I think
nationally.
The expectation was that we would be able to form the councils as many as possible.
The North and East also all lost a lot of traction.
Yeah, we wanted to win the Jaffna Council for sure, and we'll see. But then again, these are very local concerns, very local candidates.
Yeah.
They have their own bases, they have their own, and we are not going to be delusional about that fact. But I think the opposition is being quite delusional to say that the NPP lost their popularity. This is a different election.
True, Lakmali,
right?
but
Nobody has won this number of.
Yes.
No, actually, just to respond to Honorable Member of Parliament, yes, this is a different election, I agree. So does the presidential and the parliamentary. But for the parliamentary election, soon after the presidential, NPP fielded again new candidates.
Yeah, sure. Can I respond
Unheard
to that?
of. Yeah.
I think that's very
Sorry,
true.
Can I? Yeah. So, but then your vote share has risen from 42% to 62%.
68.
If you look at the presidential
Just to add to
candidate
that,
and I want to respond to Mr. Gunawardana.
Just one point. Now 62 point has gone back to 42% and settled there.
All other
That's right.
parties have had a growth.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And all
I
other
mean, we had
parties
all the votes.
are having a growth.
Come on.
We're all on a level.
No, please. Come on.
Don't you think that?
No, I don't think so. I will explain why. I will explain why.
That's
In
right.
the presidential candidate election, we had 42%. In the parliamentary election, we had 61%, right? In between that, there was a local government election, the LPTA, Bentar LPTA local government, where we had 49%. So this is the trend. This is how people vote. Even when we had when we commanded 2/3 of the majority in the country, nationally, just I think 2 weeks before the election, Bentar LPTA we only got 49%, and in the national election we got 70%. So this is an indicator. This is how people vote. We are not going to, and to be honest, at the council level, the councils are intended for different. I mean, the whole function of a council is to be quite representative of the local community. This is why we only have, these are council members. None of them are, there's no opposition, there's no government. These are council members. They bring their individual interest, they bring their vote interest, and we are very happy to accommodate that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Lakmali, I want to ask one specific statement made by President Anukumar Dissanayake during a campaign meeting in Mena, where he said, if the council is NPP, we can just close our eyes and pass the money for them.
Yeah.
Whereas if it is somebody else, we'll be thinking not once, but not
Sure.
twice, but 10 times, right? Because they are proven thieves, right? Now, as president, is it ethically correct to say that? That's my first question. Second, isn't it his duty to form all the legislation to curb all those corruption?
Sure, when we have done that. I think we have done that. We have brought new legislations. We just passed anti-corruption regulation today. I think the number of ministers who have been arrested, ex-ministers, ex-MPs, ex-secretaries of ministries who have been arrested over the past few months has been enormous, right? And we have appointed a really good, I keep saying this because I think now only a lot of people are catching up to the fact that the Honorable Judge Rangadisa Nayaka is a brilliant practitioner in anti-corruption, right? And we have appointed him as the Director General. Let me remind you, when Mr. Ranil Wickramasinghe appointed the former DG, they keep on saying that they brought this anti-corruption law, but when Mr. Ranil Wickramasinghe appointed the former DG, that was challenged in the Supreme Court and none other than the Transparency International, right? So, sure, they brought the law because there were commitments made to the IMF, but then they didn't really want to implement the law. And quite contrarily, we have implemented the law.
That's a good point, that's a good point, Sudarshana, because a lot of laws were brought in during the Ranil Wickramasinghe administration. But tell me one law that has really taken teeth and you all have done something.
Well, I mean, I will come to that, but just to respond, can I respond?
No. First tell me this, then you can respond to it.
Okay, yeah.
Now you all have the anti-corruption law and all that were brought in.
Yes.
But what did you all do about it?
Well,
the law was there on paper.
No, what we believe is that we don't believe government taking the law into its hand and going after particular people. It is up to the independent Siabok. Siabok has to do the job. So we don't believe in that government taking the high hand and say, okay, we are going to arrest 40 members and then the commission arresting 40 members.
No.
That's not bad.
That's not said about 40 members.
No. The number of government people, government members went on record and said, look at some 40 members will be arrested.
That's not us. Vimal Veeramansa went on record and said that.
No, not only Vimal Veeramansa. I mean, again, I don't want to actually argue on that, but if you say that no one in the government has said, I will accept
we
that.
We have the political, I will be very clear here, we have the political will to arrest as many corrupt politicians as possible.
Yeah.
There's nothing, we are not shying away from that.
Some members basically said that not only Vimal Veeramansa first said, but the number 40 has been saying by
Alibaba and Horuhatali.
No, not Alibaba and Horuhatali. 40 members will be arrested. That was there, but if you deny,
40 we'll find out.
I
do want to answer Shihar's question on the president's statement.
I want to
very quickly.
But now I forgot my question also. Now, you say, okay,
after who Nilesh said about Alibaba. Yeah.
No, the president's statement, Shihar, I mean to show how accurate he was on the fact that these other political parties cannot be... See, in the councils, the financial power of the council comes under the mayor or the president, right? Full control. So this is why we insist that that person has to be an NPP member, not for any other reason.
My question was it ethically correct? Because he can do that, right? He doesn't have to say that. He can just do that.
Look at the last week only, the Lindula SJB, the Lindula Talavakale, right? The former Pradesh Sabha president. The SJB president was arrested on a corruption charge, and Riza Saruk, their esteemed mayoral candidate, there's a complaint against him right now by their own party members that there's a bribery corruption. There's a bribery.
Who complained?
Bribery complaint, right? There is your own party members.
As I understand,
your own. He's also a SJB member. Nobody else, right?
He was not even given nomination.
We don't know about that. Those are internal party matters. But he is an SJB member. He's an SJB member, right? So then, this is our concern. This is our concern. Our concern is that
if there is anything corrupt about our mayoral candidate, let them prove.
Sure.
We don't want any, unnecessary
there's already
which will undermine the personality, the character of the mayoral candidate.
I didn't say anything that is not on news. I didn't say
as bad as The president's
Character
statement
assassination is
intimidated
there.
me.
No, see, these are
Really?
allegations
That we will not
made.
pass
These
money.
are own.
Right?
I'm not making up anything. I'm not
That's
making up facts
intimidatory.
here. This
Unethical.
is no. How is it unethical? Is it unethical for
Unethical.
somebody to? Your own party member has gone in front of the bribery commission and said that this
Any fellow
your
can go
mayoral
to the bribery
candidate
commission.
is there's an allegation against him of corruption. And
Let them prove.
Sure, let them prove.
Let
We have
them
nothing
prove.
against that.
But
But
this
if he's your own
granted
party
element
member.
goes
So
to
this is our
this-
concern. Shehar, our concern is that financial power of a council lies, if it lies with somebody corrupt, no matter how many members are in the council, NPP actually can't do anything about the financial decision making, and we can't take responsibility
But you
for
have
that.
more than you have more than 2/3 majority in the parliament. You can enact laws
so that's
to
why
control
we
that,
have
right?
also established internal units, audit units inside that is also one of the policy decisions that we had made to prevent, because we know, I mean, as much as we like to have all the councils under our control, there will be councils that will not fall under control, and even within the councils that fall within our control, it is necessary to have checks and balances, which is why we have established the audit units, internal audit units, under the bribery commission in these institutions. Just today in the presidential secretariat also one was established, right? And we have empowered the bribery commission. We have brought in laws, we have brought in regulations, we have made sure that there is no influence on the judiciary. Judiciary is functioning really well, and if you look at the judgments just today, the Supreme Court gave an order against the order that was given in the Court of Appeal in favor of member MP Ravi Karunanayaka, right? And even in that order, the Supreme Court says that this corruption has cost the country, and there has to be something that these investigations has to go forward. That is the position of the judiciary also.
Yeah, but Lakmali, you are doing all this, but with regard to the statement that was made by Mujibur Rahman in Parliament, I think there was a lot of issues that he brought up today. One of the issues was that the Auditor General's appointment. Why is it that President Anukumar Dissanayake is trying to push the name of one of his accomplices so much?
Accomplices.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out, y'all are trying to fight corruption, but y'all are from the back door trying to bring someone to the post of
even
Auditor General.
Mr. the Honorable Judge Ranga Dissanayake was resistant by the Constitutional Council when he was first appointed as well, right? We want to make sure that right people are in the right position. I'm not going to, lie to people or shy away from the position that we want capable, competent people who can do the job in the right positions, and Auditor General's position is one of those positions. So it has to be somebody. You can see the difference that the bribery commission has made with the change of the Director General, right? So it's important that you have right kind of leadership.
Yeah, thing is, Lakmali, even when it's a corporate, you don't have the audit committee reporting to the chairman.
Yeah.
So you have the audit committee independently reporting to ensure
and
that
nobody's going to report to the
checks and
president
balances.
either.
So, but if you appoint someone close to you,
No, we are not appointing somebody close to us. We are appointing competent people. It is the opposition who is trying to
happens
brand
to be
it.
president's
No,
batchmates.
I mean,
Competent
name,
people
happens to be
especially when it comes to the judiciary,
The best batch ever
the
of Calgary
police,
University,
and the
I
bribery
suppose.
commission. These law enforcement authorities.
Yeah.
If you can make any allegation against the NPP that we have interfered, that we have, and these people are not competent,
not
I
yet,
will take.
not yet.
Shamil.
I will assure you, even the Auditor General, the nominee that we have, the NPP has, the government has put forward, is somebody who is very competent and who will do the job right.
Yeah, so
Lakmali,
Shamil, no, I wanted to actually, that's a question I missed.
Again, our mandate is that.
Yeah. Now, actually, Honourable Member of Parliament mentioned that previously Ranil Wickramasinghe presidency appointed a judge to the bribery commission at DG, and his appointment was challenged. But she conveniently forgotten that present Director General
No, I didn't forget
appointment
that.
has also been challenged in the Supreme Court. I am not saying anything against my good friend and the bribery commission DG. I am not casting any aspersions. But the fact that that appointment has also been challenged, more or less. So therefore, the problem with this government is that this government, on one hand, they say, okay, we don't interfere, we allow independent commissions and institutions to, operate. And we, at the same time, they said, we want to have good people to do the job.
Yeah. What's wrong with
So
that?
there's a contradiction.
No, why is it a
always.
contradiction?
That's why, as she correctly said, that the Constitutional Council, when this nomination was sent of the present DG, there was this resistance, but then finally Council agreed and its appointment was made, obviously challenged in Supreme Court. And the bribery, the Auditor General, completely outside.
No, but
complete outside.
Sudarshana, in Lakmali's defense, I'm not trying to be her mouthpiece or anything, but if you look at the past decisions that the Constitutional Council has taken, like the appointment of the IGP at that time, the Constitutional Council went ahead and said IGP Pujija Sundara was the person to be appointed, and at that time the head of state was not inclined to approve his name, but they went ahead because the Constitutional Council nominated him as the IGP. Look at what the country was costed because of that man. 2019 April 21st attacks.
See, Shamit, that
what we want?
No one can.
But as the head of state, the president has a responsibility for the entire country.
Yeah.
So he has to take a decision for the betterment of the country and the mandate that he has been appointed to.
No, I see the point in your argument. That was the position in the original 1978 Constitution. The Constitution says the president is the appointing authority. Since that everyone, those days including us, fought against the arbitrary power of the executive presidency, including JVP, these changes were brought in 2001.
No, you are not getting my point. Right, okay, I understand all that. Then the 18th Amendment...
So then there's checks and balances.
No, but the problem is, after the Constitutional Council appointed the IGPs, look at what the country was costed with.
Right. Then
2019, April 21st, the attacks that took place on the country. How many people were dead? But ultimately, the president had to also pay 100 million.
Yes, that's true. But then,
so who is responsible? Then now the president have to take a stand. He has to say, I want competent people in my government. What is wrong in that?
No, Shamit, let me just explain. First, in your first question about the IGP appointment in 2015, no one had the foresight at that point to foresee what is going to happen in 2019, because 3 names have been sent by the President Sirasa.
But
the Constitutional Council, that is a constitutional arrangement. Why we brought in this Constitution?
But we knew what happened with Arjuna Mahendra within 3 weeks, no?
But that's a different...
But 3 weeks.
But again...
He was appointed January 28th of February, he emptied the coffers of the central bank.
That is the question.
That is the appointment of Ranil Wickramasinghe.
Anyone can appoint, anyone can make the appointment, but you can't blame the appointee for everything that person has been doing, because appointee at that particular point has no knowledge about what he is going to do in the future.
But do we expect the same thing from Andukumar Disanayak also?
No, that's the constitutional arrangement. If they don't like that arrangement, if they don't like that Constitutional Council, that they have the 2/3 majority, why don't they go for a constitutional amendment? At the moment, you have to respect the Constitution.
We have.
You can't.
We have not overridden the Constitutional Council. We have not intimidated them.
It has to happen.
We have not threatened
with the consultation of the President.
No, there's no provision that Constitutional Council has to consult the President or something.
The appointing authority at the end of the day has to be President, right?
Yes, that is there.
No, but his representative is there.
We have not done anything against the Constitutional Council.
I'm not saying. I'm responding to this question. He said that President, since the President is responsible, he has the ultimate responsibility. Why you are allowing the Constitutional Council?
We are quite aware that we have 2/3 of power and that we can do amendments to the Constitutional Council. We will consider that.
Right.
So can you clarify now, once these high officials are appointed, what is the relationship between the executive, the President, the Minister of Justice and so on, and these officials, let's say the Bribery Commission Chairman and so on, the Auditor General. So Auditor General, of course, is responsible to Parliament. But how does it work? Does the President issue any?
No.
Is there any consultation?
The President
how
does
does it
not
work?
prescribe what these institutions have to do. They are not acting under the, they are not handpicked by the President. The job of the President is to appoint competent people, empower these institutions and not interfere, basically, which is what we have done. And when we say that, when Minister Harshana Nanakar said that under any other government this would not have happened, the implication is that they did interfere. That is the only implication.
No.
And they did not appoint. I mean, look at this, the Deshabandhu Tennakon. This is, bribery commission is not the only appointment that was challenged in the Supreme Court by the, that is not the only appointment made by Ranil Wickramasinghe that was challenged in the Supreme Court. Deshabandhu Tennakon's appointment was also challenged. This was a trend during that time. His ministers were in remand, still in remand. Ex-ministers are going in this. I mean, I don't want to undermine the situation and just say, get this into some technical legal framework of constitutional. We have we still have a problem of corruption, which has brought down this country. And our political mandate is to end it.
Yeah,
right?
So that's a good point. Deshabandhu Tennakon's appointment, 2011, he was found guilty on a human rights violation.
No, you can't say he was found guilty because it's a fundamental rights application. So it's a declaration, because when you say found guilty, it has to happen in the criminal court. That is a different scenario where he was named in a fundamental rights application as a respondent.
But his arrogance at that time was not accepted.
Whose arrogance?
The Honorable Ranil Wickramasinghe's arrogance.
Why? Which one?
But he said that if the acting IGP is not there, the elections will have to be postponed. How much of issues came about, Sudarshana? You were
that was quite a laughable discussion.
You were the chairman of a state television network at that time. I'm sure you are aware.
Of course, I was the chairman of the state television network, and I cannot take responsibility of everything that particular political leader is doing, and I have my own opinion on certain points. That's a different thing. But I'm talking about a matter of principle where you brought in a question to say that President is responsible, because you brought the example of President Sirasa and also President Arulingam. Since President is responsible, President has to have the ability to appoint people. So if we go by this argument, then there's a conflict with that position and the present day the constitutional arrangement. But again, say that if we for that moment agree that President has to have that power, then President Sirasa must have his own IG, President Gunawardana must have his own Auditor General, then President Wickramasinghe has the same, should have had same right to appoint his own IG.
Yeah, so Damitha, just getting back into these numbers of election results and all that, you were very eloquent about the numbers that the NPP had taken and their deterioration of their voter base. Let's look at the SLPP for an example. I thought it's only just if you look at those numbers also. 2018 resounding victory at the local council elections, 2019 presidential election 6.9 million votes, resounding victory. 2024 presidential election 3%.
Yeah. And last election, local council elections, 0. Well, first of all, Shami, before I answer your question, I must comment on what Lakmali said. Now, it's a real, danger for this country, because now, according to NPP, there is no competent enough administration officer to be appointed President Secretary. You have to bring from Kalniya campus, right? Now it has gone to the Auditor General's department. The whole service, according to her explanation, doesn't have any competent officer who can be appointed Auditor General. That's what I figured out.
To our mandate. What is important for us is our
mandate and the law of the land and how departments
work. We are not violating any law of the land.
You all have not have been given martial law, right, to do whatever hell that you are pleased with. Coming on to your question, Shamir, see, I always say we have been the victim of the NPP malicious allegations, right?
Which one? Which one is malicious now?
Can I please answer?
You have two former ministers in jail right now.
Let's keep decency. If not, you can finish, then I'll start. So, first of all, during the presidential campaign.
No, but in this round, Lakmali can interrupt.
She can interrupt. I also have the right to stay silent until she finishes.
Right.
I will have that right.
I just want to make one interruption. He said malicious, right? There are several ministers who are indicted. There are two ministers, 25 years and 30 years in jail.
In the judgment, does it say that they have personally profited?
What?
Have they personally profited?
No, party profited.
Does the judgment
because
say
the carom boards were given to the party officers.
The carom boards were given to the sports council at the village level.
So are you disputing the disputing the
judgment? No, I'm not disputing the judgment. What I'm asking you is, does the judgment say that they have personally profited or not?
Right. So
yes, politically profited. Personally profited, politically profited. Why not?
Okay. Coming back to your question, Shamir. So we have been the victim. Now, during the presidential election, our comrade Dinana clearly said that Mahim Sirivardhana should be locked up, put behind bars. All of a sudden, change of heart. Last week, he was praising for the service Mr. Mahim Sirivardhana did for the country. So now, whoever believed candidate Anurukumara Disanayaka and thought so that, SLPP, Ranil Wickramasinghe government was doing an injustice to the country by appointing Mr. Mahim Sirivardhana as the secretary to the treasury. Were they deceived, fooled or not? Simple question. So what matters is the last local government election, SLPP is the party with the highest growth. From 300,000 we have come up to 1 million, and people have started to realize the incompetency plus the enormous amount of lies which was spread by the NPP, the Uganda money and it's hard to remember the amount of lies that the NPP which spread especially against SLPP, and that particular 6.9 million are the ones who voted for the NPP. Now they have started to, turn their back to 2.3 million.
So how did the SJB lose then the elections? Was there malicious, based on what Damitha is saying, was there malicious allegations at the SJB also?
SJB was not in government.
No, nor was the NPP was in government either.
NPP spread, as he rightly said.
At least you all had more than 48 members
they
in Parliament. They
themselves have now contradicted with regard to Mahim Sirivardhana, right? A man whom the president thought and told the country should be behind bars is now being praised unreasonably.
So you do agree that we don't have everybody as president's men in the government sector?
Unreasonably character assassinated, people deceived, and the people have realized that they have been deceived.
But Damitha, can you all prove that there was no corruption under your government? Because when it corruption, everybody thinks about Porto, SLPP,
well,
that regime.
What is the mechanism to prove corruption? You have to prove it in a court of law, no?
I'm interested to know what the Yahapalana members think about this statement. That SLPP was not corrupt, that SLPP politicians
Shamir,
were
are you
corrupt. There are
asking
two
the
members
questions
here.
or is she
No, she can also ask questions.
I'm honestly
you ask
interested to know.
questions from...
I was given the audience and questions being asked by the...
Become an NPP position now that SLPP is correct.
No problem.
So I just want to understand, first of all, answer what Shrihar asked you. So when we speak about governance, now this is true facts. We speak about the SLPP, Mahinda Rajapaksa governance for the last 10 years, the amount of corruption that took place.
Well, Shamir, that was a targeted campaign, right? From the very beginning, right after the war victory, all forces against Mahinda Rajapaksa, what was the common rhetoric? hurrah, hurrah, hurrah. So now it has been almost 10 years have passed since he, left the presidency. Is anyone of his family or anyone personally connected to him being tried and, convicted in a court for corruption? I can't say, coming back to Save's question, the only way to prove corruption is to go through the legal process. And if someone is, whether it's myself or Namal Rajapaksa, if they are convicted and proven as corrupt, I will be the first to stand.
Yeah, so Damitha, I remember one of the statements that was made by President Dinana. He said that Kendri Gan Nepa, when he's taking action.
Yeah, now he's the one who's
but it seems to me that it's the SLPP that is trying to do that.
Now, this pure divine NPP has stood to the level of going after, independent candidates who were supposed to be in the corrupt system before, within the Colombo Council. Now, the Hora becomes a Baba when they come to the
not associating with Hora, please.
NPP.
We will never associate with SLPP, and as it stands,
we will never support you. Don't worry about that. We will never support you.
Okay, so we have definite clarity on that.
We are very clear about that. We are very clear about that.
They are going after, ward members, independents.
Not Hora.
Now Prabha Ganeshan's party.
Are you saying he's a Hora?
Are they pure? I don't know.
I don't know. Are you saying he's a Hora?
Are you saying that Prabha Ganeshan's all members are pure? I'll accept.
So these are these
Lakmali, I want to ask
Lakmal, just a second. Lakmal, you said about a 2/3 majority and you all can change laws based on your women fancy.
Not women fancy. Please, if we were to do that, we would have done it by now, right?
So one of the issues that really cropped up in the last few months was the privileges given to former presidents.
Yeah.
And now you all have a 100
that tact
members.
is going to be amended.
So when is that going to be?
That is in the legislative agenda for this year.
Okay.
Along with several constitutional amendments. So we'll see. We do feel like our mandate has to be prioritized over everything else because, look at the way these people talk. There are two members of the Yahapalana, two members who supported the Yahapalana government, who were supposed to put the culprits behind bars, who failed to do that. And now they are going to support. They are all together to get the control of the Colombo Municipal Council. It's tragic. Right? And we cannot let that happen again. That is our mandate.
So
we have to make our people believe in justice.
Due process.
We have to make our people believe in the judiciary.
As I said, these are people who form governments with the so-called corrupt, right?
No, please, Yahapalana government was a break.
Now you call Mahinda Rajapaksa
under the Rajapaksa government.
Mr. Anuradha Disanayake was our star campaigner in 2005.
Like
it's changed.
Our star campaigner.
To be honest,
under the so-called corrupt.
Shamir, as a person, I never supported the Yahapalana government. I did not. Right? I was not a member of the NPP back then. I was not a member of the GVP. I did not support the Yahapalana government. Two members here did support the Yahapalana government. And now there's a SLPP member coming here and saying that there was no corruption, Rajapakshas were not corrupt, there are, these are false allegations. And they feel very comfortable sitting here and letting that talk happen just because now they're all against NPP. Why? Because we're anti-corruption. Because we have anti-corruption agenda. We want to put these ministers and ex-ministers and secretaries behind bars. It's tragic, right? And this is the mandate that we have to protect. We have to make our people believe in justice. We have to make our people believe that politics is not, some greedy business and not just alliance making.
Lakmali, one of the public perceptions is that the going has been rather slow.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned a legislative agenda for the rest of 2025. Would you like to tell us what's on that agenda? Some of the, not everything.
This week we have the National Transport Commission on in the Parliament. There was a complaint against the NPP that we are not bringing forward any laws, right? But I always said that it will take some time. We have to do consultations. We have to make sure that the process is in order. And from last parliamentary session, we have been bringing forward laws. There's the National Transport Commission bill coming tomorrow, and there will be minimum wages bill coming. Then there's the electricity amendment bill coming, and we are considering constitutional certain amendments to the constitution as well, considering the need to fulfill the mandate that we are given. And again, the parliamentary privileges, ex-president's privileges, these are all in the legislative agenda for this year.
Lakmali, can I ask a big picture question now? You all made a strong campaign on the anti-corruption, right? Still you are doing the same thing. Now it will be meaningless for the people if they don't see the benefit of your anti-corruption drive.
That's true.
Right? So basically people should see that their earnings should go up, their savings should go up, their cost of living should come down, right? When is it going to happen?
That's a tough question to answer, right? Because corruption, the impact of corruption on an economy is not something that manifests in 1 year or 2 years. The impact of corruption on Sri Lankan economy has been embedded for the past, let's say, at least 4 decades, especially the last 4 decades, right? So undoing that is a massive process. Not just, we have made sure that politicians, at least the ones in government, are not corrupt anymore. But we are yet to make sure that the state machinery, the entire state machinery is devoid of corruption. There is still, just 2 weeks ago, RMV, there was a corruption allegation, and still the officials are getting arrested, right? So all that has to be corrected in a process, right? And I believe that once that is on track, there will be development dividend, because one of the obstacles that we had historically against corruption, it's not just corruption, that's true. Corruption is not the only thing preventing Sri Lanka from going forward, but not making right decisions at the right time and making bad decisions based on private profit and personal gains has stopped Sri Lanka from going forward, right? So we have to make sure that that's basically purged from our system, and we are doing that. So the impact of anti-corruption on economic development, I think, will manifest over a period of time. But we do want to expedite development in terms of, now we have allocated capital expenditure, but we do see that capital expenditure is not being spent at the rate
I want to ask that question also now.
Dr. Harsha De Silva said that.
Yes, that was observed before Dr. Harsha De Silva made that statement.
So how are going to do that? It's almost 1 trillion rupees remaining.
1.3 trillion.
For the rest of the year,
yes,
right? You can't spend that much.
That's true. No, but we have in the same committee, I think the finance ministry officials also said that for the first time in history, Treasury is going to all these ministries and convening meetings with the secretaries and making sure that the plans are expedited. And the president himself is calling district coordinating committee heads and making sure that development is the priority right now. As much as we want anti-corruption to go forward, to make sure that our country.
But Lakmali, don't you think there is too much on the plate of President Anukumar Dissanayake? He has over 90 departments to look at.
That's true. Yeah.
So how can you?
But he also has. If you look at the finance ministry, he has 2 deputy ministers, and the defense ministry also has a really good deputy minister. So we'll see. He will. No,
he's the best out of the lot.
Yeah, I don't think 2 of you are the people here to make fun of defense and security.
How many shootings?
Because,
No, he said no.
These 5 months, how many public shootings? How many public
Bring with the bench.
That's the benchmark.
Come with the bench. That's the benchmark.
These are all of these
benchmark.
things have to be
So Lakman
tested over a period of time.
Lakman just putting
What
into
about the
context.
promise on the Easter bomb?
But
It was your
What about
government.
the deadline that was given
there has to be
by the
some.
president himself?
This
No,
is
but
a
putting
new
into
law, I
context-
must
yeah,
say.
Yeah, but Lakman just
To ask
putting
a
into-
new government, what have you done about a bomb attack that happened during our government, is a new law.
Just
come on.
Lakman, let's forget about that. Let's look at from
He's
January.
still
Looking for the mastermind.
Lakman,
Why are you laughing at it? It is a serious problem. It's not a
Lakmali.
joke.
Well, the laughable matter
laughing
is
at
when the
laughing at
FBI
the
says the
president-
mastermind is
president
already,
It happened under
the
your-
FBI says the
President
mastermind was Saharan
It
Hashim.
happened under
And
your watch.
how come you all have
Are
another
you not
mastermind?
ashamed?
You have to reveal that to the
It really
country.
happened under your watch, and you have zero shame to come
what
here
is
and say
happening
that
now?
NPP.
What is happening now?
We are
Did the
investigating it.
president say that by 21st
Do you
January
not
he's going
want it to be
reveal the truth?
investigated? Do you not want
He
people
will-
who
He
did
will
that to come under
investigate for the
punishment?
rest of the term. That's for sure.
Now,
Why
can
can't
I-
he?
can I-
Currently it is with the Attorney General, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Why
the-
Can I
his own
also
words.
respond to
Yeah, never
some of
been.
the questions?
I'll get back to you. Just
Mahinda
give me a
Sirivasan is
second.
the best example.
Yeah.
Sir,
21st
Lakmali, just to
he said that he's
understand,
going to reveal the truth.
just to understand
If
now,
this explains the Yahapalana government
the
and what happened.
2019 April 21st attacks, let's leave that aside, but from January to now, there have been 49 killings so far.
Yeah.
Public security has come into a big question mark. What do you have to say about that?
I mean, if you look at what the president has been saying for the past few weeks, and I think even for the past few months, our security system, our security forces, the police department is compromised at a certain level, right? And we have openly said this. We have openly said this, that when you investigate a certain crime and go behind a certain crime, there is always some military officer, some police officer at the end of it. Unfortunately, this is the status of our law enforcement authorities, right? So we have to undo all of this and get this into, this is one of, I think, out of all the tasks that we are entrusted with, this is the hardest. This will be the, the most challenging, and this is what we are really committed to do also, because, and we have done as much as we can. We have allocated STF forces to this. We have reshuffled the police leadership. We have brought forward a new police leadership. So we are doing everything we can. If you look at the numbers of shootings, Shamil, it is not, I mean, contrary to what the opposition is trying to show, it is not extraordinary from the numbers of previous years, right? If you look at the last year also, this not same true. Number of little.
How can we say that?
That is true.
Not
that is true. It's not.
Statistically wrong.
You can give me the statistics there. It is not extraordinary. But regardless of that, yeah, because you had political drama going on last year, nobody would have noticed people dying on the road. Come on. Now you can notice people dying on the road, and we think it is a problem. We think it is a problem, and regardless
but what sort of actions are you taking to arrest this problem?
So we are trying to reform the police force for one thing, and we have arrested several illegal. I think more than 2,000 deserters of the army had been arrested, because we find that these are the people who are mostly doing these hired shootings, right? And we have also arrested illegal guns that have been circulating. Sometimes have come out of military camps, because there's nobody else who can actually import guns into our country, right? So these are illegal distributions of weapons. And just, I think last week or week before that, the former General Secretary of SLPP was arrested with possession of an illegal weapon.
He was not arrested with the possession, because it was someone
yes, it was in his custody. Yeah, so he was alleged so he was alleged to have had a connection with the illegal weapon that was found, gold-plated also. So this is the system that we inherited,
so,
right?
So you want to say something?
Yeah, no, I mean, I want to actually respond to some of the issues raised by Honourable Member. And also she said this is the new law. I must address that. What is new law? She says that when the SLPP member raised some allegations leveled by NPP against them, she wanted to ask what the Yahapalana members, can they tolerate this? And saying that we jointly criticizing the government as a new law. I think new law is...
No, that's not what I said. Please don't twist my words. That's not what I said. That's not what I said. I will restate for your convenience. So Yahapalana government was given a mandate to tackle corruption. That was why it was called Yahapalana, right? You were members of that government.
No, Yahapalana is not...
and now they're saying there was no corruption. You have to answer that.
Yahapalana is not anti-corruption. Yahapalana is good governance. And what we believe, what we fought for is a good governance, and good governance was not a particular government weaponizing the institutions, weaponizing laws and going after the opposition. It is not Yahapal. Good governance is a system of government that you establish with checks and balances.
Structural change.
So structural changes. So when the presidential power was excessive, we wanted to basically abolish the executive presidency, but we couldn't do that because there were no numbers. So we seriously shared power with the parliament.
Sudarshana,
That's why Constitutional Council came in.
You were in Sri Lanka between 2015 and 2019.
Yes,
right?
yes, I'm Sri Lankan.
So then you would have noticed that a lot of people were arrested and put behind bars at that time.
No.
Rajapaksa, I think Damitha would bear testament to this. You are acting as if you're oblivion to that.
No, I'm not
That
saying.
was not a witch hunt at that time.
So you are not allowing me to...
No, I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
No.
Have you forgotten?
No, I'm not forgotten. But so it must be the systems. And then
What was the systems at that time? Tell me.
So you are not allowing me to...
Tell me without I tell. Tell me
I have to
system.
answer...
No, first answer my question. Will you first answer my question?
No, I have to just build it up.
All right.
The system was the 19th Amendment. 19th Amendment,
Ladies first.
institution has to, be allowed to perform. But there's a political rhetoric. Political rhetoric is that campaign against the then government, and then government was accused. But political rhetoric cannot be bring into law enforcement. Law enforcement has to happen within the rule of law. So people have been arrested and they were brought before the courts, and some cases the courts found that there's no charge to proceed, and some cases obviously people have been convicted.
So there was no witch hunt at that time?
No. In my opinion, at this point, I must say that went too far. There is a witch hunt. That's why we need to change this pattern. You can't take your political agenda into the law enforcement. You have to establish rule of law and let the law enforcement work.
So you accept that there was a mistake at that time?
No, I accept there's a mistake, and that's why now we are into this situation. And let's say the government, when the governments are in a position to say that, we have a mandate to, go after the opposition members,
They did not say
that's
that.
the problem.
Again,
That's the
you're
problem.
twisting my words.
No,
They did
I'm
say
not saying you.
Yeah.
I'm saying that this is the sentiment.
Government did not say
Sentiment is
that
we have a mandate and we appoint people and we do that, and that's what we see. That's what we see is that there is.
Are you saying there is a witch hunt on now?
Yes, obviously there's a witch hunt on now. There's a witch hunt on now. Obviously there is a witch hunt. Obviously there is a targeting of the opposition members. Now, for example, they say, okay, don't give power to the opposition in the local councils. And whenever local council is going to be formed by the opposition, they say, someone is complaining against that person, and that person, when there's a complaint, according to the Anti-Corruption Act, the investigating officer, if he or she believes that he can be arrested, then they arrested, and they say, okay, now this person is arrested, he is corrupt. So this is the witch hunt. This is the politicization.
But I'm just asking you.
This is the politicization.
But Sudarshana, just to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Now let's take a look at the human immunoglobulin matter, the health crisis that we are facing now. Don't you think justice has to be served?
But
Justice has to be served, and during that government, that case was taken up, and this particular minister, first time sitting minister, was arrested and remanded for a long time. So the process started at that point. No, Shamin, I'm not saying that law has to be applied. My worry is
No, but how
that
many
you
people
can't
lost their eyesight?
So that's why. So
Can tools like that be reversed ever in your life?
And also, Shamir, that particular minister.
Given approval, the same manufacturer.
Shamir, just to clarify, that particular minister was arrested after
I think I have
the president had refused to dismiss him from the cabinet, and there was so much public pressure, including our show. We repeatedly pointed out, and
Even there was a no confidence motion against.
no confidence motion and so on. So
And he still won that in Parliament.
Yeah.
exactly.
yeah, but no. But my point is that, answer to your question, we are for the anti-corruption measures, we are for the good governance, and we still believe in that. But we do not believe that there should be a political victimization by using these laws.
Yeah, so I want to,
during Yahapala period also it happened.
Victims here,
So
that
happened.
is really
It happened.
difficult.
Yeah, so
That's why.
because you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Now Dayasiri Jayasekara has been summoned with regard to these 323 containers
Yeah.
that was released. Lakmali, just to understand, they being public representatives, can't they bring issues of this sort to the light of
He
the
sure
public?
can. He sure can. That's why he's summoned to the CID, because he made a statement that there is a concern about fraud and corruption on these 323 cases, right? That's what he said. And there was, they made a huge speculation about what was inside these containers. So I think the CID has summoned them to give a statement on these statements.
But when measures like that take place, aren't you twisting the arms
No,
of
we are
the
not.
public
We are asking them to. The CID has asked them to
caution that they can't say anything against the government. If you say something, we are going to summon you to the CID.
But summon them to
Isn't
give
there
us.
going to be like a
No,
self-imposed
no.
censorship being
They are not-
imposed to the public representatives?
Shamir, they are not summoned to the CID because they give a statement against the government. They are summoned to the CID to reveal the crime that they have been talking about in the media.
Right. So who's complaining against these individuals? Now the CID won't go ahead and
CID
keep
can.
on. No, but
On their own accord, they can. And I
No,
think
I-
there was a complaint made. I'm not sure. There was a complaint made, not by the government. There was a complaint made, and CID has.
yeah, but someone has to complain. So who's
The
complaining?
CID
No,
can't act
someone
like
does-
this.
CID won't. The
That's not
CID
true.
can't. No,
That's
CID
not
can't
true. The
act.
police can.
So can the
based on
CID act
statement.
based on their own accord?
Any police can.
To my
Any
knowledge,
police have-
that there has to be a complaint.
No, that's
Exactly.
not.
You can't
That's
just
not true.
police
That's
law
not true. The
enforcement cannot. The problem exactly that is
That's
the
not
free expression is
Yeah,
now
so
challenged.
something-
You can't
some-
say
but
anything
now-
because then
now there's
someone
going
There
to
is
be
a, first of all, Shami,
media
there is
law
a
that is
complaint.
being brought in.
Yeah.
Uh,
There is no media law that is being brought in. There is a media policy that is
Policy
being
being
discussed,
brought in.
which was drafted during the previous administration.
right. So
It's not something that we originated.
yeah, but those were matters that the NPP at one point was against.
No. First of all, just to answer, just to make this very clear, against Mr. Dayasiri Jayasekara, there is a complaint in the CID. Even if there was no complaint, it is the job of the CID to make sure when there's an allegation of fraud
problem
to
is-
investigate it.
problem is that
right?
when-
it is the job, and I
but,
think
but
that's why
they do it
free
Lakmali,
expression.
only based on a complaint.
Yeah.
They
they
don't.
can,
They,
but there is a complaint here.
yeah,
Yes,
but
it's
who,
not
who
that
has
it's not-
complained?
I'm not sure. You have to check. There is. It's not. It's not
Definitely
done
the
by
government.
No, it's not the government. The government has not made that complaint.
Probably the owner
was
of the 300
minister.
containers.
It was the minister. I mean, to taint somebody who has made a complaint, not against Mr. Dayasiri Jayasekara, but to investigate what he has been saying, as somebody who is connected to the containers, I think there is a law against.
Isn't that the duty of the government to investigate
Yes.
that?
So they will.
Rather
I
than
think-
Isn't
somebody
that
going to
what I'm
CID
Just
and
clarify
calling
one matter.
Dayasiri
When it is-
Jayasekara
Now
when
be
it is
questioned.
revealed.
I'm not sure. Should the CID investigate this or not?
the problem
Amir,
is
Amir,
Just to clarify that point, the police or any law enforcement authorities, if they believe a crime has taken place
They can.
or is about to take place, they don't need a complaint to act. For example, if you think that if there's a policeman walking down the street, he sees that somebody is going to get shot, he doesn't need a complaint. He has to take action.
No, but in a
So if-
situation like
CID
this,
but even here,
about
This is a serious allegation of corruption, and Mr. Jayasekara already said that he went to the bribery commission, right? I'm not sure whether he went to the bribery commission or not, but he did say that they will be going to the bribery commission,
But
that they'll be going to the law enforcement.
don't you fear that there is a self-imposed censorship that is
No.
being brought forward by actions of this?
No, but then there is also concern about politicians making claims. Now, just now they said that human immunoglobulin, the same manufacturer was granted permission, which is not true, and it is a serious
Then you might
concern.
be also asked to come to CID,
CID,
and
no?
explain your
You see,
position.
this is a serious. These are medicine that we are talking about. That people take for their illnesses, and they are outright lying about it. In the news, in the media, the media is lying about these things, and they are allowing these publications.
Now, there's a serious problem about free expression. We know that certain people, I don't want to name people, said that our money was taken to Uganda.
Yeah, Mr. Manshu Nanayakara, for example.
Uganda.
Manshu
Some
Nanayakara
money
said
was
that.
taken to Uganda.
Didn't Manshu Nanayakara
So
say
then,
that?
and some people's names were mentioned.
I'm
So at
mentioning
that
one.
point, the same people, had these people gone to CID and complained, okay, this person is accusing us for, taking money to Uganda, why don't you actually ask
Nobody,
that
again,
person?
Correction. Nobody. Minister Bimal Ratnayaka has not gone to the CID and complained about anything
Yeah,
that
but
was said
someone,
against.
someone else.
Right.
Someone else. You
there
can
is
send someone.
If there is a statement about
You
a
can send
serious
someone.
crime against a government which has come on a pledge of anti-corruption and not doing fraud, anybody can go to the police and complain about it and demand an investigation, which is what has happened. And it should happen.
So,
why are you shying away from the
yeah,
statements that you made if
Sudarshana,
you're
forget
confident
about
about
this
them?
Ugandan money.
Yeah.
After the last year's presidential elections,
Yes.
we saw the asset statements of asset declarations of many presidential candidates. One of the presidential candidates had declared, I don't want to mention names because it's
Yeah.
not
They are
ethical.
not here. Yeah.
They're not here as well, it's not ethical. He has said that he is earning 3 million rupees a month as interest by giving a loan of 300 million Sri Lankan rupees. How is that possible when your father is a politician right throughout and you are a politician yourself? In 2011, the acquiring of a company, a multinational telephone operating company. How is all this possible? Tell me. Forget about this Ugandan money for a minute. No. Why don't you all talk about how wealth has been amassed by politicians? Now this politician who was talking about these 40 ministers being arrested, how did he start off his political career and where is he now? Are these entrepreneurs?
No, that's why the proceeds of crime law has been introduced. Because
we all lawyers
we
will
all
know,
see there's a problem. We all see there's a problem.
Do you
But it
agree
has-
there is an inherent problem in
There's-
the system?
There's inherent problem.
And
in
do
the
you
system.
agree-
That's why we actually spearheaded this proceeds of crime law, and which actually the new government brought into law. So we are not against that. What I'm saying is that let the investigations happen in impartial manner.
Yeah, again.
Let the justice prevail
But you
by
would
the
call it a
independent
witch
judge.
hunt.
It becomes witch hunt when the government is using to their own advantage and also to curb opposition. So, any investigation process, there can be certain problems. That's why there are watchguards. When 2005 to 2015 government was in power, obviously that we saw various excesses by that administration, and we have been supporting the victims. Likewise, at this point, when this government is taking upper hand and say that certain political leaders, certain officials will be, prosecuted, obviously, if they are proven guilty, that's no problem, but we must provide
That's
their
proof of,
legal advice,
witch hunt.
legal support,
Ministers,
protection from witch hunt.
No, but my question is, Sudarshana, do you agree that between 2005 2015 there were corruption in this country?
Yes,
There was.
yes.
Then who is responsible?
Well, I think I can't pinpoint at one particular person or a particular this thing. It's a structural problem this country has been facing. That's why we have been advocating a different system. And we fought for that, and 2015 we managed to get that. So if a particular individual is responsible, it is up to the law enforcement to handle that. We cannot. I'm not the judge. I cannot judge.
But when the NPP government is doing that, you are branding it as witch hunt.
See,
You are accepting there is a mistake. You are accepting there was a problem. And when action is being taken by the NPP government,
Is action being taken
no, action-
regarding last amassing of wealth? Now, for instance, if you take former Chief Minister Chamara Sampath's matter, which is pending at court, the accusation is distribution of some school bags worth 1 million rupees. Is that the corruption that the NPP was screaming about?
No, that was one of the
That's
allegations.
corruption.
And also, and also,
Very good, but where is the large scale, harassment?
Yeah, also the problem is that whenever you speak against the government,
Yeah.
next week
You have been called by
Lakmali, that
Next week you'll be
development, there seems to be some sort of a notion that is going in the public domain right now. When you speak anything against the government, the next day or the week after, you are summoned to the CID.
Who are these people who are just summoned to the CID? Without a cause, without a case, without an incident. Who are these people who are just summoned to the CID to intimidate? Nobody. How many allegations are made against the government on a regular basis? And media, there are media stations outright lying and carrying campaigns against the government. The public complaint is actually that we are not using our power, 2/3 power against these institutions, against these people, right? That is the public public complaint is that we are not, is not that we are summoning anybody, we are crushing media. That is not the complaint. The government is actually exercising a lot of discipline and restraint when it comes to handling all of these allegations, right? There was a drama by one of these, the UNPPR chief, I think. What was his name? Tusita, who claimed that the president had money in Greece, and then his files suddenly got lost in a shooting incident, and now there are investigations into that incident. So can you imagine any of these things happening under a government with 2/3 power under any of these political parties? No, we have been very disciplined, very restrained, very tolerant of all of these accusations, but we are not going to let them disrupt this process, because I think it's tragic and shameful that just to conclude, Shamil, in 2015 there was a mandate given to the Yahapalana government to tackle corruption, to make sure that this country will not go down the line that it was previously taken.
you were not part of that. You were not part of that. You were not part of that.
Ananda Vijaypala was though.
I'm not part of
Ananda Vijaypala was there.
Anyway,
Ananda Vijaypala was there.
You must be going.
I don't make
Very well, because
Ananda Vijaypala was
luckily
there.
I was not part of that.
Yeah.
In 2009,
JP was part of that.
in
JVP
2000
was
And
part
Mr.
of that.
Saranaga was
JP was part of that.
council name?
It's anti-corruption committee.
Why are you making an accusation that
The
we wanted,
tractors full
that
of,
NPP or JVP
fights.
wanted good governance? Is there a problem?
No, there's no problem. No. You disassociate yourself. That's why.
Yeah,
You said
I
you didn't
do,
support.
I did.
You didn't
I mean, I'm
support.
not going to lie and say I supported
Yeah.
Yahapalana government. I did not.
No, thank you for not lying.
Anyway,
Thank you.
Anyway, my point is at
That's
the end of that term, really, what was the other lies that I said here? Can you point them
I'm
out?
talking about your party in general.
can you point
you
them
can
out?
conclude.
No,
You
Lakmali.
can't just make statements
No,
like that and character assassinate people. What were the lies I told here?
No, Damitha.
I'm just talking about the lies
You
your
can't make
party
side comments like that.
went
No,
I
to
mean,
town
is this
against
the
my
political
party.
practice that these politicians have? Just making snide
Lakmali,
comments
this
when
arrogance
somebody is
happens.
making-
We know. We also
No,
know
I'm not being
when a
arrogant.
government is
You just
drastically
snide-
losing support.
No.
Right.
Anyway,
Arrogance
let
and,
me
you
get
know,
back to what I was saying. At the
threatening
end of that
people,
term,
all
at
that,
the end of
we are not.
Damitha.
We don't have zero.
at
Survey.
the end of that term, from 2015 to 2019, what happened? The previous government, which was accused of corruption by the government at that time, was brought back with a 2/3 mandate, and we paid the price for that also, right? So we do not, to be honest, with very clearly, I want to disclose, there's no political influence or arrogance here. We do not want to go down that road. We want this country to come back from that. And we think we have the institutions and laws and all of these nice systems are not enough. You also need to have political will to change. We have the political, we are very thankful for the institutions and laws that previous governments have drafted and kept hidden and dysfunctional. But we also have the political will to make them functional and make them, give them teeth, which is the political will.
So, Dr. Mendis, for me to understand, what is the political culture of the SJB now?
Quite a broad question. What do you mean by political culture?
When I say, where are you all inclined towards? Are you all fighting against the government? Are you all trying to unite? the opposition and come as a formidable force at the next election? Because we know for a fact
Obviously.
there is no election in the next
Are you
2
likely
years.
to have a partnership with
Partnership
the
with the UNP?
Don't
What is going
mix
on?
it, you see, and make a hell of a pickle, right? Now, we as a
We
responsible
don't want to make a hell of a pickle, nor do we want a soup.
You are-
we are trying to
you are
understand
trying to
what the
make a
SJB is
hell of
all
a soup
about.
and a hell of a pickle,
Right.
right? Don't mix up everything.
Okay.
The
Is
local
the
government,
SJB in a pickle?
no, we are the most formidable opposition party, and there is no doubt about that. And our voter base has increased, and the parliamentary group is extremely active, and the leader is principled enough to say what he says, and there is no problem with the SJB. Right now, you are trying to mix up everything, right, with the local government outcome. The local government, you see, the Colombo Municipal Council, you see our capacity
Right.
to work together
Yeah, but-
and command respect
Yeah, so
from people.
this leader of yours, why isn't he meeting the UNP leader?
Why he is not, or why he is what?
No, why is he not meeting Ranil Wickramasinghe?
Shamir, my comment on that would be, I think the presidents of Russia and Ukraine will meet faster than the leaders of these two parties.
No, you see, no one ever
Is
met
it true?
the two parties.
No, Dr. Wayne, it's true.
He is entitled to his views. Right? Okay.
You want to bet?
And he can say, I mean, he defend his right to say what
No, but
he thinks that.
but why,
personally,
but why are they meeting? Tell me now.
I mean, they have been.
Why don't they meet over a cup of coffee?
There's nothing. There's nothing extraordinary. There's nothing.
We find it extraordinary why they're not
No,
meeting.
They will meet at the most. You see, the right time they will meet. That's a different story. If there's a need to meet, they will meet.
But
Still, there is no need,
Right?
need to
But
what about
Yes,
just a cup of
working
coffee or a cup of
committee
tea?
has endorsed discussions not only with Mr. Ranil Wickramasinghe, but with all the parties, right? And we are a truly democratic party, prepared to listen to people, prepared to work with people, believe in convergence, right? We believe
Right.
in speaking to Mr. Namal Rajapaksa. We believe in speaking to all these political parties in the context of the local government elections. We don't want the Colombo Municipal Council to be in a dysfunctional state.
Right. So I want to give 2 minutes each for each speaker to sum up their thoughts on our topic today. After the LG polls, what now? Please do not bring in new arguments. Each speaker gets 2 minutes each. Don't interrupt. Respect each speaker's right for the final say. Right. Let's start off with Sudarshana.
Yeah, thank you. Now, as I started, opposition has the majority. Opposition is divided, obvious, but against the government policies, which is actually heading towards a disaster because our growth is going to be diminished. That we had a 5% growth rate last year. Now this year's projections are going to be 3.2, 3.5. I also am not sure, quite sure that even we could reach that point because capital expenditure is so low. Even at this rate, we will not be able to service our debt when the moratorium is ended. So we will be heading toward disaster. Government people gave a mandate to the minority president who won only 42%, but people thought, okay, we'll give them a mandate, and 62% was given with the 2/3 unprecedented majority. But what's happening for last 8 months? There's no movement, nothing happening on the ground, except weaponizing the anti-corruption mechanisms and other law enforcement. And also there's a serious threat to the freedom of expression. Anyone who is actually expressing their free speech is under threat. So at this point, we believe that the all democratic forces should come together. Okay, different parties have differences, but there has to be a democratic alternative to this arrogant government which thinks that they know what is best for the country. So therefore, we believe that we have to form an alternative to this government, and we are working with everyone in the democratic opposition to get into that. We don't blame people, we don't label people, we don't actually dig their past, we are looking towards the future. We want to have a democratic future. We don't want to be ruled by a future dictatorship who is going to say that we have 2/3. You don't see our power of 2/3. So, be aware of 2/3. 2/3 were given by the people to address the problems faced by the country, not to actually threat other people. So it's a duty of the president to unify the country and get everyone together and face the situation. We want our country to, flourish. We want our country to stabilize. We don't want to topple the democratically elected government or anything. But this government is so arrogant. If government thinks that they can do it alone, and if government thinks that they can weaponize against the opposition, we will not allow that to happen. We have been fighting mighty dictatorships all this time, so we don't mind, and we cannot be swayed by threats. And also, we will support anyone who is unfairly victimized by these processes. If they are guilty, no problem, that's fine. But unfairly, if we are threatened, if you feel threatened, obviously we will support you. We will be in your assistance.
Thank you very much, Attorney Adlaw Sudarshana. Damitha.
Yeah, first of all, if you compare the local government election, we are the party which has the highest satisfaction, I would say, because due to various malicious accusations and mudslinging and all that, our 6.9 million support base was reduced to 3.5 lakhs, but we have been managed to take it up to 1 million in this past election. And with that, we have realized that the people who fell into these malicious allegations of the NPP and they defected the SLPP towards the NPP have quietly started to come back. That is one positive we take out of this election result. And also the NPP can be arrogant and say that this is a local election, but if you compare local elections within the democratic history of Sri Lanka, no other government has faced such a drastic reduction of support within a 6-month period. So saying that, also the government, whenever the law enforcement get a victory, it is the victory of the government. Whenever there is shootings happening in the streets, it's the fault of the public service or the law enforcement service. So this government basically reaps all the good and sways away all the bad. And coming on to the way forward that I see in the political landscape, they have unfortunately gone into threatening the opposition, as Sudarshana very clearly explained, and that is of course the practice of a government which is deteriorating public support and which is about to lose the people's mandate. I am 100% sure if they decide to hold the provincial council elections in the first quarter of next year, as the economy is also slowing down, cost of living is rising, there is no vegetable found in the market which is below 500 rupees a kilo. The rice issue seems to be ongoing, and as a solution the government imported a rice stock, and that rice stock is lying in the warehouses and the government is being unable to sell it. So summing everything, as far as the party is concerned, we have understood the mandate. The mandate is against the government. The mandate or the majority vote share is for the opposition. So any local government council where the opposition seeks our support, we are ready to extend, like our national leader Namal Rajapaksa very clearly said to the media. So all in all, I think it will be very bad showing going forward for the government.
Right. Thanks a lot, Damitha Wickramasinghe. Dr. Mendis.
All right. The political processes are dynamic. Very clearly, the SJB is a party. There is no doubt that we believe in the highest benchmarks of democracy. We, as the principal opposition party, we wish the government all the best. We don't want the government to fail. But we are asking the government to be careful that they don't undermine themselves. They do not walk their talk. With regard to the culture of governance that the people expect, especially in the post-uprising period, we see through the words of the President himself, as he proclaimed before the local government elections, that if the people decide to vote for a party not to their liking, the provisions, financial provisions, will not be there. They will think twice and thrice and 4 times and 5 times before they pass funds. That is intimidatory. Such words will not come from the leader of the SJB, Sajith Premadasan. We do not believe in such a culture. That is just only an example, that is only a symbol. That talk is symbolic talk of confrontational, adversarial, fascist, authoritarian tendencies of the government within 7 months. We are asking the leaders of the NPP not to undermine itself, and also transparency and accountability. Now, they have no business. We know all what they have been talking about the attitude, whatever agreement signed with India or any other country, right? Why are they concealing the truth relating to agreements signed with India? They are fundamental, the lessons in the education process of the Janata Vimukti Peramuna happen to be anti-Indian expansionism, you see, against Indian expansionism. And today, what are they doing? Why are they contradicting themselves? Why are they not even prepared to reveal to the people as to what they have signed with Prime Minister Modi? Are we a colony of the Indian Republic? Is he the Chief Minister of the Republic of India in Sri Lanka? Well, we don't want the President and the NPP to undermine itself. We wish you the very best. We have no doubt that, you see, we are clean, right? We are clean enough in principle, right, to wish them well. But don't fool the people over and over again. Insult the dignity and undermine their trust on the government. That is a problem for democracy, because for this JB, the first priority is democracy, second priority is democracy, third priority is democracy, and we are prepared to work with the United National Party or Pohottua or whoever that is concerned about the current status of affairs, undermining democracy.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Mendis. Attorney General Lakmali.
Yes, they talk about deception, they talk about fooling the people, but here we have 2 members of the Yahapalana regime coming here together with Pohottua, defending. Now one of them is calling what happened during 2015 and 2019 an excess of power and a witch hunt, and now they can form the Colombo Municipal Council together. I think there is no deception beyond that, because Sri Lankan people in 2015 had hope from the Yahapalana government that there will be change. SJB and UNP were both part of that government. It is because they did not execute that mandate that SLPP or whoever this Rajapaksa regime got back into power in 2019. At that time they called Rajapaksa as fascist, and now apparently there's double speak here. Now the democratic forces are coming together. So, I mean, we are not doing this business. This is not the politics that we pursue. We want to make sure that it's principled, that it's policy based, and we are not being Puritan, we are not being arrogant, but we will not sit with the crooks. That is our position. Regardless of whether we are in power or whether we are out of power, we will not tolerate corruption. We will not sit with the crooks. We will not make political alliances with political parties for a council or for a government just because, power comes and goes, to be honest. Power comes and goes. That is how politics work. But principles have to stay. Considering how Sri Lanka had failed during the past, especially the past 4 decades, to make sure that this country is developed, to make sure that there's accountability, that political culture is not so depraved and so opportunistic. We believe that Sri Lanka needs a political party that stands on principles, and that is what we want to do. For some people it might look arrogant, for some people it might look Puritan, and some people anti-corruption has become a hated word at this point, and we are okay with that. We are okay with the fact that we don't sit with the corrupt politicians, and we are not going to call that democracy. That is not democracy. That is just selling out the mandate that was given to you. It is good that you're accepting it at least a decade later, that you are selling out, and people can now see who are deceived and who are not. And we are very glad, even though I was not part of the JVP or NPP during that time, I'm very glad that the President Dinana Dissanayaka withstood that pressure, continued his campaign, became the President of the country, gained control of the Parliament, and he will be gaining control of the local government institutions as well. That is the truth. So we will continue on this crusade. Nobody can return us to where we were 5 years ago or 10 years ago. This is the mission that we have, that is the mandate we have, and we are being truthful to that only.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot to Attorney at Law Lakmali Hemachandra representing the NPP, Dr. Mahim Mendis representing the SJB, Damitha Wickramasinghe representing the Sri Lanka Pujana Peramuna, as well as Attorney at Law Sudarshana Gunawardana representing the Dinana Dakuna movement. Sudarshana, you spoke about fighting dictatorship over the years.
Yes.
Does that mean you fought when Ranil Wickramasinghe was the UNP leader also?
No, I was supporting Ranil Wickramasinghe.
So that was not dictatorship?
No, it was not dictatorship.
Okay.
He was elected
No,
Prime Minister.
UNP leadership I'm talking about.
No, I was referring to the
Not
country. No, I was not in the.
But still he is not letting go, no?
Huh?
Still he is not letting go, no?
You want him to let go?
I don't know. You tell me. I think fighting dictatorship should start from within the party.
Huh?
I think fighting dictatorship should start within the
That's
party.
the only alternative at this point.
Thank you very much, gentlemen and the lady, for joining us this evening on the show. Very quickly, Niresh, it really struck me when you said about the Ukraine and the Russian president will meet, not the UNP leader and the SJB leader.
Shamir, on our shows, I think for about a year, we have been asking this question, why these two leaders
are not meeting,
and they disappointed us all these years, or months at least.
I'm not disappointed at all.
Well, it would be nice to, it would make a great photograph, the two of them sitting
together
down for a cup of tea at least.
Dr. Mendis, I think you should take it to your leader, Sajid Premadas, and tell him. Before forming the council on 16th,
First we form the council and then let's move from that.
So that means you're right. Even they won't meet until Russian president and Ukrainian president.
My money is on Putin and Zelensky.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us. Thanks, Dr. Niresh. Thank you very much, Shihar, for joining us this evening on the show. Shihar is an independent journalist and Niresh is a consultant director at Newsfirst. I leave you tonight with the quote as I always do. There ain't no answer. There ain't gonna be an answer. There never has been an answer. And that is the answer. Take care and good night.
Hello.